Korea, a land of majestic mountains and fertile valleys, boasts a rich and ancient history. The Korean peninsula was inhabited since prehistoric times. The first kingdom, Gojoseon, emerged around the second millennium BCE. By the 1st century BCE, three kingdoms arose: Goguryeo, Baekje, and Silla. In 668 CE, Silla unified the three kingdoms. Buddhism flourished, leaving behind architectural marvels like Bulguksa Temple and Seokguram Grotto. The legacy of these ancient kingdoms echoes through Korea's history, language, and culture. After the fall of unified Silla, the Goryeo dynasty emerged in 918. Founded by Wang Jeon, Goryeo unified most of the peninsula. It ushered in an era of prosperity and cultural achievement. Goryeo's renowned Celadon pottery became prized throughout Asia. The Goryeo period witnessed the creation of the Tripitaka Koreana. This monumental collection of Buddhist scriptures stands as a testament to Korean artistry. Goryeo faced invasions from the Mongols in the 13th century. In 1392, General Yi Seong-gye established the Joseon dynasty. Joseon ruled Korea for over 5 centuries. It left an indelible mark on Korean society. The Joseon rulers adopted Confucianism as the state ideology. Confucian principles permeated Korean life. The Joseon era saw significant advancements in science, technology, and the arts. King Sejong the Great introduced Hangul, the Korean alphabet, in 1443. This revolutionary writing system greatly increased literacy and remains a source of national pride. The dawn of the 20th century brought turmoil and hardship to Korea. Japan, undergoing rapid industrialization and militarization, turned its expansionist ambitions toward the Korean peninsula. In 1910, Japan formally annexed Korea, beginning a brutal period of colonial rule that would last for 35 years. The Japanese imposed a policy of assimilation, attempting to erase Korean culture and identity. The Korean language was suppressed and Koreans were forced to adopt Japanese names. Japan exploited Korea's resources and labor, transforming the peninsula into a supplier of raw materials and a market for Japanese goods. Korean resistance to Japanese rule was widespread and persistent. Student protests, like the March 1st movement of 1919, demonstrated the enduring spirit of Korean nationalism. Armed resistance groups, known as righteous armies, fought against Japanese forces in Manchuria and other areas. Notable figures like Kim Il-sung, future founder of North Korea, emerged from this period of resistance. Kim honed his guerrilla warfare skills fighting the Japanese in Manchuria. The experience of colonial oppression would profoundly shape his worldview and political ideology. The end of World War II in 1945 brought hope for Korean independence. However, Korea soon found itself ensnared in the Cold War rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union. The peninsula was divided along the 38th parallel. This division solidified into two separate states. Tensions escalated into war on June 25, 1950. The Korean War drew in international actors. An armistice was signed in 1953, but no peace treaty was reached. Korea remained divided by a heavily fortified demilitarized zone, DMZ. Section 5. The Rise of Kim Il-sung and the Juche Idea. In the aftermath of the Korean War, Kim Il-sung consolidated his power in North Korea. He established a totalitarian regime based on a cult of personality centered around himself and his family. Kim's ideology, known as Juche, or self-reliance, became the guiding principle of North Korean society. Juche emphasized national self-sufficiency, political independence, and military strength. It promoted the idea of North Korea as a socialist paradise, free from foreign influence and exploitation. Kim used Juche to justify his authoritarian rule, suppressing dissent and isolating North Korea from the outside world. Under Kim's leadership, North Korea embarked on an ambitious program of economic development. The government implemented a centrally planned economy, prioritizing heavy industry and military production. Kim's goal was to transform North Korea into a powerful, self-reliant socialist state. Section 6. Consolidation of Power, the Kim Il-sung Era, from 1953 to 1994. The decades following the Korean War witnessed the consolidation of Kim Il-sung's power and the entrenchment of his Juche ideology. North Korea underwent a process of intense social engineering as Kim sought to mold society in accordance with his vision. Propaganda and indoctrination became pervasive, shaping every aspect of life. Kim cultivated a cult of personality around himself, presenting himself as the infallible great leader and eternal president. His portraits and statues adorned every public space, and his words were treated as gospel. The North Korean people were subjected to constant surveillance and control, with any sign of dissent ruthlessly suppressed. Despite its isolation, North Korea achieved some notable successes in the early decades after the war. Literacy rates soared, and healthcare, though rudimentary, was provided free of charge. However, these achievements came at a high cost, as individual freedoms were sacrificed on the altar of Kim's totalitarian regime. Section 7. The Arduous March and the Shadow of Famine. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 had a devastating impact on North Korea's economy. With the loss of its main trading partner and benefactor, North Korea plunged into a period of severe economic hardship known as the Arduous March. The country's industrial output plummeted and food shortages became widespread. The situation was exacerbated by a series of natural disasters, including floods and droughts, which devastated agricultural production. The North Korean government, clinging to its policy of self-reliance, refused to accept international aid, exacerbating the crisis. The result was a famine that claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of North Koreans. The famine cast a long shadow over North Korea, exposing the failures of Kim Il-sung's economic policies and the brutality of his regime. It also highlighted the plight of ordinary North Koreans, who bore the brunt of the country's isolation and mismanagement. Section 8. Kim Jong-il, Inheritance and Crisis. Kim Il-sung died in 1994, leaving North Korea facing an uncertain future. His son, Kim Jong-il, inherited the mantle of leadership but lacked his father's charisma and authority. Kim Jong-il, known for his reclusive nature and eccentric personality, struggled to maintain control as the country grappled with the ongoing economic crisis and international pressure. Despite the challenges, Kim Jong-il continued his father's policy of prioritizing military spending, even as the economy teetered on the brink of collapse. He also pursued a confrontational foreign policy, developing North Korea's nuclear weapons program in defiance of international sanctions. Kim Jong-il's reign was marked by a delicate balancing act. He sought to maintain the Kim family's grip on power, while navigating the country through treacherous waters. His rule would lay the groundwork for the challenges and opportunities that would face his own son and successor, Kim Jong-un. Section 9. The Kim Jong-un Era, Nuclear Ambitions and Shifting Strategies. Kim Jong-un assumed power in 2011 following the death of his father, Kim Jong-il. Initially perceived as an inexperienced figurehead, Kim Jong-un quickly consolidated his authority, purging potential rivals and strengthening the military's role in North Korean society. He continued his father's focus on nuclear weapons development, conducting a series of increasingly powerful nuclear and missile tests. However, Kim Jong-un also displayed a willingness to engage in diplomatic overtures, holding historic summits with South Korean President Moon Jae-in and U.S. President Donald Trump. These summits, while raising hopes for a breakthrough in the long-stalled denuclearization talks, ultimately failed to produce any concrete agreements. Despite his diplomatic outreach, Kim Jong-un remained committed to maintaining North Korea's nuclear arsenal, viewing it as an essential deterrent against foreign aggression and a guarantee of his regime's survival. He also oversaw a shift in economic policy, allowing for limited market reforms and encouraging foreign investment in an attempt to revitalize the country's stagnant economy. Section 10. The Hermit Kingdom Today, Economy, Society, and Daily Life. North Korea today remains one of the world's most isolated and repressive countries. The Kim dynasty maintains an iron grip on power, controlling every aspect of life. The economy, though showing signs of improvement in recent years, remains heavily centralized and inefficient, with widespread poverty and shortages. Despite the hardships, the North Korean people have shown remarkable resilience and adaptability. Informal markets known as Jongmadang have flourished, providing essential goods and services outside of the state-controlled economy. Access to information from the outside world, though tightly restricted, has gradually increased, challenging the regime's official narratives. Daily life in North Korea is characterized by a mix of hardship, conformity, and surprising glimmers of normalcy. While political freedoms are non-existent, and access to basic necessities remains a constant struggle, many North Koreans find solace in family, community, and traditional culture. Section 11. North Korea on the world stage: international relations and the future. North Korea's nuclear ambitions and human rights record have made it a pariah state. International sanctions have crippled its economy and limited its global engagement. Yet North Korea exploits its strategic importance to extract concessions. The future of North Korea remains uncertain. The country faces a stagnant economy and chronic food shortages. However, the possibility of change remains. Informal markets and outside information, along with a new generation, could transform society. Engagement and dialogue are essential to address the nuclear issue. Progress requires understanding North Korea's unique history and culture.